A very good morning to you. Welcome to Mornings with Ken Rosato. Today is Tuesday, February 3rd, 2026, and we'll take your calls at 888-658-0234 to kick things off. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with a forecast near you.
This weather is brought to you by Audio Nova, your hearing experts, serving all of New Jersey with 13 locations.
Mike, I don't know if you've noticed, but our meteorologist Pam is under the weather.
Oh
So,
man.
as the chief weather enforcer,
Yeah.
doctor of meteorology, you are a doctor. And if she's under the weather, therefore you must do something. Just saying.
Oh, I see how that works. Well, I gotta say, I think the weather has been cured a little bit, or maybe it's a temporary fever because you walked outside yesterday afternoon and it wasn't painfully cold. It was kind of nice to walk to the sidewalk, right? And not have to freeze with your fingers going numb in just 10 seconds with that cold air that moved on in yesterday. It was not this harsh cold that allowed for a really frozen feel. Now, that feeling returns today, even as we look out west where it's nice and dry and warm for you on the West Coast. But folks waking up this morning in Florida, oh, it's got trouble. With the morning temperatures anywhere from 25 to 30 degrees right down to the coast. Yes, it is incredibly chilly there with the effects of that cold weather returning yet again today. So that continues for all of the East Coast right down to the tip of Florida and going up to Maine. Our forecast points to another round of cold air. You can see this jet stream dipping way down to the Gulf and allowing for that chilly weather to remain. However, there are some slightly milder days ahead. See, this is that stretch where we get 3 or 4 days of highs that get just above the freezing mark. We made it to 33 degrees yesterday. I think we can do it again today here in New Jersey. We'll talk more about the country's weather and even give you a insight as to some Olympic venue weather over in Italy, across the pond. We'll give you that coming up, Ken, in just a few minutes.
A bit of little Milano stuff going on, and we're not talking about the cookie.
Not talking about the cookie, little Cortina d'Ampezzo in there. Yeah, we'll take care of you.
So now, did I get this correct that like literally up until a month ago, they didn't have one of the stadiums done there?
From what I'm reading from all of the Milan reporters, it is a lot of hype from American media, is what the Milanese are saying.
No.
So,
No, what this is Italian saying, domani, domani, facciamo domani. It's like, sir, the Olympics start tomorrow. And we'll start to do the paint tomorrow. No, 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 no. Like 100 million people are going to come here into Milan tonight for tomorrow. Maybe 2 days. They come over for a little cafe. That's Milan. Yes. Anyway, just say it. I could say it because my family's from Northern Italy. So I know the way it works. All right. So we appreciate you as always. We will check back. It is still a chilly temperature of 20 degrees, but way warmer than it was yesterday. It's like 7 degrees warmer than yesterday at this time. And that is in Trenton. It's 24 in northern New Jersey. In California, 53 degrees, Los Angeles. Love it. In terms of traffic, what we have right now is a crash on the New Jersey Turnpike Western Spur northbound, just north of interchange 15E, which is 1 and 9 in Newark. All lanes are open. Vehicles move to the right shoulder. We have a crash on the Garden State northbound, exit 129, the Turnpike. In Woodbridge, all lanes are open. Also, a crash on 81 southbound near 1 and 9 in Elizabeth. The left lane is closed. Crash on 295 southbound, south of exit 29, which is Route 30 in Haddon Heights. A left lane of 3 lanes closed there. Over to the New Jersey Turnpike. Again, we have a vehicle off the roadway, and that is in the vicinity of, it's northbound by interchange 8, Route 33 East Brunswick. I'm sorry, East Windsor Township. One right lane is blocked. Vehicle is kind of partly on its side. They said it's going to take a couple of tow vehicles to get it righted, to get it taken off the turnpike. And then we have something going on Route 30 right now. It says a water main break on Route 30 westbound east of Airport Circle, Route 38 Pennsauken Township, 3 right lanes of the 4 lanes closed. So that's going to be an absolute nightmare. Let's take a look at the Hudson River crossings. We have the Lincoln and Holland at 20 to 25 minutes. Not bad. GWB upper and lower levels already starting to show a lot of volume, but moving only about 25 minutes in. But nonetheless, you could see the upper level on the right a little bit better than the lower level on the left. But nonetheless, it is, like I said, this is not bad for this hour of the morning. It's really not too bad at all. In terms of California traffic right now, we go over to Santa Fe Springs, where there's a traffic collision on I-605 at Peck Road. And we also have a collision, no injuries reported, I-110 at I-105, and that is in South LA. 705 East Coast, 405 West, and today's show host Savannah Guthrie's mother, Nancy, was likely snatched from her Tucson bed as she was sleeping, that according to Arizona police. There were cameras at the rural $1 million property. Investigators are pouring through video and say that cops are investigating Nancy's disappearance as a crime. The beloved elderly grandmother was last seen Saturday night after one of her kids dropped her off at home, and she was reported missing the next day when she failed to show up for church. Just a horrible story. Fulton County, Georgia officials announced that they will file a lawsuit against the Trump administration and DOJ after the FBI seized hundreds of boxes of ballots, voter rolls, tabulator tapes, and election records from the 2020 presidential election. The county claims the DOJ had a warrant that only allowed copying of records, but agents took original ballots and records without a proper chain of custody, raising concerns about verification. The DOJ's warrant and seizure of materials follows the agency's lawsuit against Fulton County, demanding to see the 2020 ballots after a number of serious and credible-sounding suggestions of voter fraud emerged. Local commissioners say the seizure is federal overreach ahead of the 2026 midterm elections. A partial government shutdown of the federal government began Sunday after Congress failed to pass full appropriations over disagreements regarding immigration enforcement, funding, and reforms. The shutdown affects agencies including the Department of Transportation, IRS, and Labor, delaying data releases, including the January jobs report. Essential services such as Social Security, Medicare, air traffic control, and TSA do continue operating, but workers may go unpaid until the funding is restored. Remember what happened last time? After a few weeks of no pay, the traffic controllers started calling out sick. The Senate passed a bipartisan funding deal that includes a short-term extension for DHS to allow continued negotiation over reforms, but the House had not voted on it, keeping the shutdown in effect. Speaker Mike Johnson says he believes he does have enough Republican votes to pass the deal, and they will be back in session today. So hopefully that'll get resolved. It is 7 minutes past the hour. Adrian Conejo Arias, originally from Ecuador, denies ICE allegations that he abandoned his 5-year-old son Liam while ICE agents were trying to arrest him, even though there's videotape suggesting otherwise, showing Arias running away with the son left behind with the agents. A far left-wing Clinton-appointed federal judge ordered the release of Liam and his father over the weekend. Once again, forget about the fact that these people violate U.S. laws. We don't like bad Trump, so we'll let them go. In the meantime, this liberal judge criticized the administration's deportation policies as poorly implemented and traumatizing children. Okay, whose fault is that? The fault of the parents who broke into the country illegally? If you burglarize a bank and you have your kid in tow, the cops come and arrest you. Do you blame the cops for terrorizing the children or for the fact that you broke into the friggin' bank? Whose fault is that, Judge? It's unbelievable. The exact same policies were implemented by the Obama and Biden administrations. So there's nothing different under Trump, not even the way he's doing it. It just comes down to liberals and socialists hate him so much and are trying to overturn the 2024 election, that they are trying to pump the media full of left-wing propaganda. That's what this is. This happened in the 70s as well. These are socialist and communist groups, folks. Don't fool yourself. Agents tried to bring the boy to the mother's home, by the way. She refused to open the door to them, so the father agreed that the child should be at the detention center with him. At no time was the 5-year-old placed under arrest, but liberal media keeps painting it that way, like the kid was arrested. He was never arrested. By the way, the same thing happens to somebody in the U.S. who gets arrested when a child in their custody is in their custody when they are placed under arrest. The child gets taken to a child care facility at the jail because where are they going to put the kid? Leave him on the street? Officials at the boys' suburban Minneapolis school claim they received bomb threats and a third of their students stayed home out of fears that agents would try to arrest parents as they picked up their children from the school. Look, this is what happens when a sanctuary state deceptively makes illegal aliens feel they are able to legally live in the United States when federal law prohibits it. A state doesn't have that right to give you citizenship. What other function does an ICE agent have? The position was created by Congress to enforce federal immigration laws. If you don't like it, change the frickin' law. But stop protesting against ICE agents like they're somehow doing something illegal that isn't federally mandated when in fact it is. You're doing no one a service by lying. Bill and Hillary Clinton caved Monday to House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer's demand that they testify before the panel about their relationships with deceased pedophile Jeffrey Epstein and his convicted accomplice Ghislaine Maxwell. The Clintons said they would appear for depositions on mutually agreeable dates and asked that the House scrap a contempt vote expected to take place tomorrow. 9 Democrats on the oversight panel previously voted with Republicans in support of holding Bill Clinton in contempt, while 3 Democrats backed holding just Hillary Clinton in contempt. Well, a growing crisis is unfolding as so-called PFAS, or forever chemicals, contaminate drinking water wells across the U.S., impacting at least 40 million Americans reliant on private wells. The chemicals were used in products like firefighting foam and those non-stick Teflon-type cooking pan coatings. They don't break down. Instead, they accumulate in the environment, the human body too, and they've been linked to serious health risks. There are federal limits that apply to public water systems, but private well owners are unprotected and often unaware of contamination until they test their water, and then at that point it's too late. 11 minutes past, 3 executive members of the Delta Tau Delta fraternity at Northern Arizona University were arrested and charged with hazing following the death of an 18-year-old student after an off-campus rush event. The student was found lifeless early Saturday with bystanders giving CPR. He was later pronounced dead. Police say several people, including the victim, drank lots of alcohol at the event, and authorities booked the 3 20-year-old fraternity leaders on charges of hazing. Well, our bitter cold snap caused parts of Wildwood Beach to freeze over, creating an incredible sight along the Jersey Shore. Shallow pools and areas of wet sand turned to ice, and some were even spotted skating, something almost never seen on the beach. The only thing is that you're warned, be very, very careful, because some of that ice could be very thin enough that you could fall in, and in that frigid cold water, you get hypothermia and potentially die. So unless you see a sign posted saying it is safe to skate, please do not skate. Although it does kind of look fun. That's AI though, but it does kind of look fun. All right. It is now 13 minutes past the hour. When we return, we'll spotlight an educator who made a difference far beyond the classroom. Meteorologist Mike Favetta will return with your full forecast, a little milder today. Plus, we're taking your calls at 888-658-0234. You're watching Mornings with Ken Rosato, now live on the East Coast and the West Coast. Back in 2, don't go away.
Play it like the New York Sirens. Live in the spotlight. Etch your name in lights. Embrace the noise. And when it calls you, turn it up. Get louder. Play it like they'll hear us everywhere. Because this is our team. New York Sirens. Play it big.
Welcome back to Mornings with Ken Rosato for your Tuesday live in New Jersey and New York. And now we welcome Los Angeles at 15 minutes past the hour. We'll take your calls at 888-658-0234. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has the forecast near you.
This weather is brought to you by Audio Nova, your hearing experts, serving all of New Jersey with 13 locations.
All right, Mike, a tiny bit of a warm up for the East Coast just for a day or so. West Coast, look at that, 53 degrees and mild and comfy. Go figure.
And it's snowing over at the Olympic venues as well. So everybody tapping into the snow, even places where you typically don't see it down south, such as the Carolinas, Virginia, South Carolina picked up some snow, and now more snow happening over right where the Olympics are happening in the northeastern section in the Alps. Over in Italy. Cortina will pick up some of that. So there's Milan, there's Cortina, a good 4.5 hours away. It's like if you had, the Olympics in DC and New York, pretty far apart. So while the rain is falling in Milan, they're picking up a good 6-7 inches of snow, totaling a foot just in the next few days. That's good news for the skiers, for all the winter events happening there. But if you're headed that way, bring the umbrella, getting about an inch of rain over in Milan. Back here at home, we have plenty of cold air that dives right down to the Gulf again in the next few days, even tomorrow and Thursday. Another round of brutally cold air as that jet stream digs a big trough in the west, providing all that warmth out west, and another round of severe cold, including portions of, down to central Florida, where the orange groves are, especially with that freezing temperature that keeps occurring. So we still have that forecast of a little bit of light snow across southern and central New Jersey later tonight, maybe get a dusting up to an inch, and then another round of extreme cold that takes us into the next few days, especially with that futurecast showing that snow moving in from the south and west, taking over and pushing eastward. Could get another clipping of snow with a clipper. That happens on Friday. We'll talk more about that coming up with another check of your forecast, Ken, in a few minutes.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. We appreciate that very much. And look at that. The temperature's way up to 19 degrees in northern New Jersey, Mike. I don't know what to do with myself there. 20 degrees in Trenton. It is 17 degrees in Cape May over on the West Coast. 52 degrees now in California. And we will take that any day of the week. In terms of traffic, let's check out this crash we have. It's on the Garden State Parkway northbound at exit 129. Never good to have that at this time of the morning at that area. That's usually a very blocked area in terms of traffic anyway. We have a crash on 295 southbound, just south of exit 29, Route 30, Haddon Heights, right shoulder closed. Disabled vehicle, Route 24, westbound. And that is, let's see, of course, they just updated here. Westbound east of exit 8 and Summit Avenue in Milburn. The left lane is closed there. Crash on Route 81 southbound, near 1 and 9 in Elizabeth with the left lane closed. And a crash on the Turnpike Western Spur northbound north of interchange 15E, 1 and 9 in Newark. All lanes are open, but vehicles move to the right shoulder. Lincoln Tunnel right now is 35 minutes into Manhattan, 25 at the Holland. GWB upper and lower levels starting to build, but moving. You can see it's about a 35 to 40-minute crossover time right now. Still not so bad considering this time of the morning. And in terms of West Coast right now, we have a crash that is reported, and that is on I-110 South at 105. That's in South LA. We also have a traffic hazard reported in Altadena on 210 West by Foothill Boulevard. Well, we love spotlighting educators who are making a difference far beyond the classroom. And this morning, we're joined by one of New Jersey's own, Dr. Angelo Villarreal, known by his students and community simply as Prof. He's a teacher at Freehold Township High School and the Rays Academy, a Fulbright scholar, and one of the Educators Room's top 50 educators around the world. Born and raised in Peru, now a proud New Jersey educator and father of three, Prof is preparing for a global classroom experience. He's going to Uruguay, right next to where my relatives are in Argentina, through a U.S. Department of State sponsored Fulbright program. We welcome Dr. Villarreal. Good to have you here.
Good morning, Mr. Rosato. How are you doing?
All right. Podemos hacer todo en español si quiere. I speak my mother's family's from Argentina, so I can speak Spanish too. But it is a pleasure having you here. Congratulations on all your accomplishments. And when you go to Uruguay, stop by my relatives in Argentina, and they'll treat you to a nice evening of food. I promise you.
I hope they're going to have a good time also, because that's going to be the time of the World Cup as well.
Absolutely. Oh, it's going to be crazy. You know that. I don't
Yes.
have to tell you. You're from Peru. You love your soccer in Peru too. What was it
Yeah.
like being named one of the top 50 educators on the planet? What did that feel like?
It was incredible. I actually wasn't even expecting it. It was mostly, and I think I mentioned this to my students, it wasn't like a culmination of the work that I'm doing. I think it's just the beginning of everything that I'm trying to do. I'm trying to promote and give a voice to all of my students and always promote awareness. I believe the students are beyond a letter grade. I believe that the students have more than just assignments and lesson plans. I think that they are full of potential, and I'm really glad and honored to be recognized as one of those as part of the cohort.
Doing that, though, takes a lot of work. I mean, it's one thing if you only have a classroom full of 8 students, you could spend that individual time. If you're given 38 students, that's not easy. How do you balance that? How do you manage to know what each student needs, know that certain students test better and others don't, and still take care of that many kids? Because in New Jersey, they don't just give you 2 students per class, they give you a lot.
I actually have quite a lot. I have a lot of freshman students this year. Combining my 5 classes, I have about 137 students. So knowing each one of them, it's a little bit different. So I try to spend a lot of time getting to know them, not only the passion about sports, maybe sometimes movies. We talk about Marvel. You see all my things here in the bag about Marvel. We talk about movies and sports. But that's how actually I'm able to connect, interact with my students. Besides that, on my free time, I actually spend a lot of time with my students, getting to know them and see if I can mentor them as far as how I used to be mentored back in Peru. And that has helped a lot of the students as far as getting to know themselves and trying to promote what they want to do in life as well, which is the most important part.
I know from a lot of students in inner cities and more urban centers may have home situations that aren't the same as, say, rural or suburban areas. And so, in many cases, they look up to their teacher more like a parent figure. Do you find that with your students? They look at you as a big brother or a parent as well?
Quite a lot. I have 2 students that graduated already. One of them, she told me she wants me to walk her down the aisle because I know her dad passed long time ago as a firefighter. I have a couple of male students also. They always look up to me and they always try to ask for advice. I have emails at 11 p.m., 2 in the morning. I don't know why they go to sleep that late, but emailing me what else they can do as far as trying to make a difference for themselves. And that's a difficult part, trying to see how many other students I am not leaving behind. And that's the continuous part as far as being a teacher. Always try to motivate them and believing in them. That's big. And just a quick note, I was a really bad student. I'm not gonna lie, I always tell that to my students. But I had one teacher, Professor Cesar Bejarano, who is in Peru. He's still teaching, by the way. And he believed in me. He saw something in me that I didn't see into myself. And thanks to him, I'm here right now, actually talking in front of you and teaching great students at Freehold Township High School.
And he obviously knows that you're also a teacher. He must be so proud of you.
Yeah. He makes fun of me saying like, "Oh, that you remember the time I yelled at you? I hope you're not yelling too much at your students." Like, no, I'm not as good, but it's a great interaction. I always remember him, and I'm sure he's doing well. I talk to him all the time on Facebook, and again, it's a great thing to follow his footsteps.
I too, I have about 5 or 6 teachers. I'm 58 years old. I have 5 or 6 teachers I still talk to, I go to dinner with, that made that difference for me. And it's people don't realize how important being a great teacher is. My mother worked in a school in administration, but my mother-in-law was a teacher for 25 years. I know how special they both are in terms of the way they dealt with their students, and those students still reach out to them in their retirement. So it takes a special person to do what you do. I pay homage to you. I bow my head to you because it's an all commitment. You are either 100% a teacher or not. It's not just a job; it's a whole life. Correct?
Yeah, and I like to call not just a teacher, I like to be called also an educator because goes beyond, as I mentioned, beyond the lessons, beyond the curriculum. I know that I'm hired as a Spanish teacher, but I know for many students, they see me as a mentor, as you mentioned before, some of them as a big brother, a big uncle, or, however they want to call. But I think it's important for many students to try to all relate with that teacher and letting them know that we also believe in them, and always try to push them. Hmm.
You're also a father of three of your own kids, and you've recently returned to karate with your kids. How do you balance that? You have all these kids at school, and they need your help, and they call for you, and then you have your own children. That's your primary responsibility, and you want to take that time and be a good dad with them. That must be a big challenge trying to balance that family life with the school life.
It is challenging, but I always thought of myself trying to do my best for my students. So down the road, 10, 20 years later, maybe they can work with them. They're going to be their bosses. They're going to work with them. So that I think that's how everything circles back. Um, it is difficult. I'm not going to lie. My oldest, Ricky, he's 8 years old. My twins, Aliana and Alejandro, they're 4 years old. They're in pre-K. But I love the fact that I can share all the experiences. Today in the morning, my daughter was crying, so I had to help her right before I came here. But it's beautiful to see the transition and how I'm able to project myself as a teacher, but also as an educator, and how my students also get to know my own kids. I always talk about my kids in the classroom, so they actually grow with them, which is the beautiful part.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And by the way, who's the best at karate among you and your kids?
They outrank me. Ricky, it's a green belt, and my twins, they just got the yellow belt, so they outrank me. Shout out to Arbine's Karate. They are doing amazing. It's an amazing community. And they teach from the little things of giving a good handshake, eye contact all the time, sitting straight up, making your bed in the morning. Those little things are really, really important that I also emphasize with my own children. So it's great to have a great community.
You're an amazing man. They're very lucky to have you, both your children at home and your children at school. God bless you, Dr. Angelo. Is it Angelo? Is that how you pronounce your first name?
Angelo.
Oh, Angelo. I saw the spelling and
Angelo,
I thought it
yes.
was different. And it's Villarreal. That I know. Congratulations again.
Yes.
Thank you for coming on this morning. We're very lucky to have you. God bless you.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too. 28 minutes past the hour. When we come back, as social media continues to grow, hackers are finding new ways to cash in. We're coming right back.
Play it like the New York Sirens. Live in the spotlight. Etch your name in lights. Embrace the noise. And when it calls you, turn it up. Get louder. Play it like they'll hear us everywhere. Because this is our team. New York Sirens. Play it big.
Very good morning. It's 30 minutes past the hour, Tuesday, February 3rd, 2026. Welcome back to Mornings with Ken Rosato. We're live on the East Coast and live on the West Coast. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has the forecast near you.
This weather is brought to you by Audio Nova, your hearing experts, serving all of New Jersey with 13 locations.
All right, Mike. So yesterday the groundhogs had just a field day. I mean, we're going to talk about this in a little bit. The fact that not only do we have to deal with Punxsutawney Phil, but the reason it's not just a groundhog, but of course you have Staten Island Chuck, and then we have two more freaking groundhogs. Am I allowed to say that, in New Jersey? And then we have a box turtle. When did a box turtle? It's Groundhog Day. There really is a box turtle. Not only does this box turtle supposedly predict the weather, but the box turtle also is trying to determine the Super Bowl outcome. So I think this box turtle, it's probably some chubby guy who chews on a cigar wearing a box turtle outfit. That's what I'm thinking.
That sounds very New Jersey. Well, on this Turtle Tuesday, we look ahead to some really chilly weather. Maybe you want to, snuggle back up into the shell, because with all of this cold that is predicted that lasts right through the weekend, doesn't get much warmer than what you see right now. So with temperatures that are cold enough to support a little bit of snow coming through late Friday evening, it's a clipper system, and these systems never give us more than an inch, maybe a dusting of snow at worst. That'll move on by. And then following that is another round of really cold air, mimicking last week's extreme cold. All of the clear sky across the Northeast today is nice and dry. We look out west for more clear weather, all the way out to Southern California, nice and dry and warm. That is until we see a little bit of rain return there. Hey, out to the Olympics, where you're picking up quite a bit of snow up at the Olympic venues there in Cortina. Back over toward Milan, it's just a plain rain, and most of the Po River Valley has a steady rainfall. So it's very common in February, with that wet weather continuing. That lasts through Thursday, and if you're wondering if is the snow going to last, that falls tonight and tomorrow for the opening ceremonies on Friday. Oh yeah, it's going to be chilly. Temperatures up in the Alps well into the 30s, maybe getting up into the low 40s, and then nice and a cool rain over toward Milan with a high of 50 degrees. Our forecast back here at home is clear, it's cold, it's dry, and it gets colder into the weekend. Details coming up in just a few minutes, Ken.
All right, Mike, thank you. It is now, what do we have here? 20 degrees in Trenton, 21 degrees northern New Jersey. It is 19 degrees in Cape May. In terms of traffic, we have snow removal operations going on once again today at the Goethals Bridge. Those side lanes in both directions kind of got loaded up with snow from the plows a week and a half ago, and we had the big storm. So now they have to clear that. So that's going on westbound today. Yesterday it was eastbound. Just be aware of that on the Goethals. We have a crash now on 295 southbound, south of exit 29, which is Route 30 in Haddon Heights. The right shoulder is closed. You can see some brake checking there, residual delays. It's not a big deal because it's just the shoulder that's closed, but nonetheless, you have that. We have a disabled vehicle, Route 24 westbound, east of exit 8, Summit Avenue, Route 124, Millburn. The left lane of 3 lanes closed there. We have a crash also, vehicle off the roadway on the Turnpike Outer Roadway northbound, south of interchange 8 in East Windsor. The right lane is blocked, and there's a vehicle off to the right side, but it's sort of tilted partly on its side. So they have to bring some equipment in to kind of right the vehicle in order to get it off the roadway, or to get it on a flatbed. We also have we have a water main break, Route 30 westbound, just east of Airport Circle, Route 38, Pennsauken Township. 3 right lanes of 4 lanes closed there. Lincoln Tunnel now reporting 40 minutes in, a little bit of volume there, 30 minutes at the Holland GWB upper and lower levels. Not too bad. It's heavy, but it is moving. You see that very slow move, about 5 to 10 miles an hour, 5 miles an hour there. It's not so bad. You're talking a little bit better in the upper level on the right than the lower level on the left, in all about 35 to 40 minutes in. Off to Los Angeles we go, and in Newhall, we have a hit and run with no injuries reported, Roxford Street by the off-ramp at Sepulveda Boulevard. There's also a closure of a road on I-110 South at I-10 South, and that is in South LA. And there's a traffic hazard reported right now in Altadena at I-210 and Foothill Boulevard. 35 minutes past the hour. Anne Liebschutz is a global technology expert based in Washington, D.C., who's been closely tracking the latest social media security threats, from Instagram to Snapchat. It's a lot to study there. And good morning to you, Anne. Good to have you with us.
Good morning.
Well, we've seen some high profile account hacks on platforms like Instagram. Originally, they kind of denied it and they said it was a third party provider. Well, now we have Snapchat issues. What is driving this?
Sure. Well, the more that we are online, like in a persistent prevalent state, the more access people have to us. So, in terms of what's driving it, the ability to access people's information for purposes of achieving some kind of outcome, whether that be a financial crime or to be able to, manipulate somebody in some way. But one of the things we have to understand is there's a motivation similar to any petty crime, criminal motivation, but how do they get to us? And there's the kind of well-known things, and then there's the really technical things, and then there's the practical things. We hear about well-known things all the time: secure passwords, non-random passwords, not using passwords across consistent accounts. And then you hear really, really technical things, but what's more important is practical things. As sophisticated as technology is, it's often the practical things that we can do that can keep people out of our accounts. One of the things I like to talk about the most, especially with business owners and people that are traveling, is Bluetooth. It's a proximity technology, meaning that people with devices can access and find pathways into your phone just passing by. So sometimes we think about really complex situations, but it's just the simple things we do, the parts of our devices that we keep on that allow pathways into our devices that allow people to find their way in.
Yeah, it's sort of like having a credit card with a broadcast chip, right? You don't have it in a protected wallet. Somebody walks right by, boop, and gets a copy of your credit card. The same kind of a deal, because most phones, people tend to keep the transmitter on so that when they go to the market, they don't have to think about turning it on and they could check out with it. But that's transmitting data at all times. Somebody gets close enough, they get it. So it is amazing that if you think about it, I mean, you clearly have, I haven't, but social media accounts, you have access to potentially thousands of people, right? So that's why you get those blast emails to everybody. Hey, click here. You got to check this out. Boom. Now all of a sudden these hackers have access to thousands of people's computers because I think it's Uncle Joe sending out a mass alert to everybody.
You're right. All of a sudden, there's a large population there. So whatever the desire, the outcome of the breach and the of the hackers are, all of a sudden there's platforms where they have hundreds of millions of people. And one of the things that people do, going back to what's practical, is they panic click. They hear things all the time from their credit card companies, from their banks, from social media companies, from consumer organizations. Just take a breath. Don't panic click. But it's often in that moment that they panic click that the access happens, such as what we saw with Snapchat. There were the victims, they classic panic clicked. They thought they received a communication from somebody impersonating the company, and then they handed over information that comes through two-factor authentication and granted access. So while there was some technology that allowed the perpetrators there to gather general online information that's publicly available, emails that sophisticated crawler programs can pick up. But then what they did is they tried to access these accounts, and then those individuals were turned around and replied to a communication and gave them the password, gave them the two-factor authentication, and allowed them to access their accounts. So while they used technology, had they not panic clicked, had they not fell for that phishing, that social engineering, hey, I'm security, hey, I'm from the company, it would have stopped at that point. So understand, so you got to take a breath, don't panic click, remind yourself of the basics. And what we're here all the time, your company will not contact you for any type of security information, and take a breath and don't do it.
I can't tell you how many emails I received in January. It seemed to be the theme in January. Your insert name of account, your such and such is expired. Your credit card information is expired. Click here. Now, I happen to use a specific security company. I'm not going to say it obviously here, but I received an email that said it was from that company. Click here to renew. And I thought to myself, wait a minute, I thought I paid for 10 years. Why am I having to click? And then I hovered over and I saw the return was a Gmail. I'm like, yeah, no, I don't think that such and such security is going to have a Gmail address to go back to. But it looked as authentic as possible. Had I clicked, I would have given them access to everything, and it would. And I'm fairly savvy, and I was tempted to do it. But exactly, don't panic click. Right? If anything, call the company, do it old school, and say, "Did you send me an email? It only takes a minute." And this way, you won't surrender all your data to everybody. A lot of people don't even realize, I know, how much personal information that they're giving away online. I see people on Facebook, on Instagram, or Facebook, for instance, they put their full actual birth date. That's actually a very dangerous thing to do, right? I mean, I know other people who always put the birth date a few days off, but you put your real birth date out there, you're giving them some information to get background on you.
That's right, because in a lot of business situations and financial situations, we're giving up social securities. You have to put birth dates, social securities, personal information, and the way a lot of these organizations are set up, people, if there's an unauthorized what we call breach, if there's a breach and there's an unauthorized exposure, people can in a moment collect that information off the API, off the system, whether it be a social media or other type of company that stores data online. You hit something extremely important, and it goes back to practical, and that is mindset and believing it can happen to you. It's a little bit, I say this in a way a little bit to be funny, but it's okay to be paranoid. Walk around believing it can happen to you and have that in your mindset. And even if it's just no matter what I'm going to do, no matter what, I'm going to count to 10 backwards and then look at this email, look at this text message, and then process things just a little bit slower. Literally just a little bit slower would stop a lot of these panic clickings and essentially opening the door to those that are trying to access your information. And interestingly, where you are, there's actually there's state legislation that's trying to introduce having companies set up a phone number so you can call and find out.
And only because we're down to 10 seconds, we definitely want to have a website for more information.
Oh, sure. Well, to give a general information where all viewers can start is FTC is the Federal Trade Commission. This is your consumer protection. This is your consumer protection agency. And from there, you can drill down, and it's quite valuable. It actually has a lot of practical and operational information.
All right. Great advice. All of it. FTC.gov. All right. Global technology expert Ann Liebschutz's amazing information. And I will change my password today from password. I promise. Thank you for coming on this morning. Have a great day. 43 minutes past the hour. You bet. We are 2 minutes away from the next segment, and we're coming right back on New Jersey Mornings.
Play it like the New York Sirens. Live in the spotlight. Etch your name in lights. Embrace the noise. And when it calls you, turn it up. Get louder. Play it like they'll hear us everywhere. Because this is our team. New York Sirens. Play it big.
And welcome back to Mornings with Ken Rosato. 45 minutes past the hour. We will take your calls at 888-658-0234. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has the forecast for your city.
This weather is brought to you by Audio Nova, your hearing experts, serving all of New Jersey with 13 locations.
All right, it's 46 minutes past the hour. A little milder on the East Coast for today at least, but don't get too used to it, right, Mike?
No. There's another round of cold weather coming, and those watching this morning from California going, oh man, oh that cold, what are we gonna do? Well, if you stay put, you'll enjoy the warmth for the next several days. With the clear sky that you have today, even through tomorrow, it stays nice and dry. The futurecast, however, shows a little bit of cloud cover moving in. That's about it. By the time we get to later Wednesday and Thursday, that's with the wind shift and the winds coming in off of the south, providing a little bit of that rain by late Thursday evening. And that goes right up to the hills with some clouds on the way for Friday. That should clear out by the weekend, especially with that high moving in. You get the marine layer in the morning, and then it's nice and dry by the afternoon. Out east, it's a reinforcing shot of cold weather. That comes through this afternoon. A little bit of snow south of Atlantic City. That could give us a little dusting by tomorrow morning. And then it's all about more cold weather. And that cold sticks around even through the end of the work week into the weekend. Might start off with a little bit of light snow. That'll happen early Friday morning into the afternoon, ending by Friday night, leading to a very cold Saturday. So still through the middle of February, talking temperatures that are slightly below average, whereas you head out west and it is well above average all the way through the middle of the country, through the Great Plains and into the Rockies. The precipitation forecast is a little drier than average, especially for the most of the East Coast right down to Florida. So we have one more round of extreme cold this weekend, and then this time next weekend, we will finally see temperatures get just to average. And average means 40s in the afternoon, 20s at night. It'll feel much, much better.
You know, I've never been so excited to strive to be average in my life. And by the way, we have a guest who's coming up next who's in Miami. And, you know, I live half time in South Florida myself. And I see him in the corner of our screen right now. It's 47 degrees in Miami right now, which is like 20 below zero for New Jersey and New York. So I can imagine he's kind of cold right now. We'll go to him in a minute, I promise. Just a quick check of traffic. Thank you, Mike. 20 degrees right now in Trenton. It is 24 degrees in northern New Jersey. It is 18 degrees now in Vineland. On the West Coast, Los Angeles right now, our LA viewers, we have 53 degrees. Much nicer there. It's actually milder in California in February than South Florida, which doesn't usually happen. Usually it's just the opposite. But in terms of traffic right now, we have a snow removal operation on the Goethals Bridge, both directions going on right now. Beware of that. Crash and vehicle off the roadway of the New Jersey Turnpike Interchange 8 East Windsor, 1 right lane block. We have delays on the Garden State Parkway northbound by exit 149 to 151. It's about a 3-mile stretch, Bloomfield area. All lanes are open, but it's nonetheless a volume delay. That happens a lot in that area. The GWB right now, if we take a look at the upper and lower levels, you'll see a little bit of a slowdown now. The upper level is basically stopped on the right side, lower level on the left. That's going to cost you about 45 minutes on the right and about 35 to 40 on the lower level on the left. The Lincoln and Holland both reporting 30 minutes. 49 minutes past the hour. Rising costs, tariffs, and supply chain disruptions are hitting small and mid-sized businesses hard. And for some, the impact is personal. Dan Trujillo is the founder of Miami Links. His core jewelry line is traditionally Italian-made, but the recent tariffs have driven up costs. So Dan made a bold move to launch a new American-made jewelry line. And we say good morning to our friend Dan.
Good morning, Ken. How are you?
Dan, I'm good. I used to live in North Bay Village for years. And so I know you're in Miami. I now live in Fort Lauderdale. I'll be down in a few hours. And I see it's 47 degrees by you, which for people in the north here in New Jersey, New York, 47, we'd say we wish it's 47. For that, it's fur coat time for South Florida, right?
Right. You know, the one time I turn on my heater in the year is the last 2 days.
Unbelievable. And you get that funny burning smell because it hasn't been on in a year, right? Unbelievable.
Right. All the dust is in there.
I looked at your website. You have the most incredibly beautiful jewelry. A lot of people who may not realize, although we have a big Cuban American population here in Union City, New Jersey. It's a huge Cuban American population. So the Cuban links, which is very popular, those big thick chains are gorgeous. My mother has one, by the way. She loves it. But
Very
those chains are
nice.
very popular. But yeah, but you used to have that made in Italy. But the problem is having that made in Italy and now imposes a tariff. So now that disrupted part of your business. What was the solution for you?
Absolutely. Yeah. So when the tariffs happened, we had an increase in about 15%. And we noticed a major downturn in sales just because of that. Mostly in the solid gold section, because solid gold is already being so expensive. An increase in 15%, people are asking, well, why is it so expensive? And it's very hard to communicate that information that, listen, the 15% tariffs will increase your solid gold, even though it's a small percentage, gold being at 4,500 at the time, 4,200 now hitting 5,000 record numbers. It makes a big difference. So what we did to
Yeah,
combat that is, oh, sorry, go ahead, Ken.
no. Please, I thought you were done. Please continue.
All I was going to say was, yeah, so what we did to combat that was we decided to make a product in-house to exclude tariffs, make it right here in Miami. We still include our core line of Miami Cubans from Italy, but we decided to make an entire lineup made right here in Miami. Obviously, the wait time, because they are handmade right here by us, is 10 days, but they're still just spectacular products, if not better or equal to in quality.
It's just amazing the art and the skill to hand make jewelry like that. And the fact that you have artisans right there who can do it, it just speaks so much to their skills. That was a heck of a risk, though, to take that time to do that, worrying about potentially losing customers. What was the response from your customers?
I think everything happens for a reason. When we first started seeing the slowdown with the tariffs, and we just did a test product. We did two products of the handmade, and it actually just started selling organically. Everybody was very interested in it being made in Miami by hands. And we have a team of 11 people that make the chains. Once they saw that, it really just started picking up momentum. We increased the line up to 10 products, and still to this day, they're doing really well. People really love the skill. Just like you said, we have videos on Instagram showing how the people sand, how they do it by hand, how they melt the silver down, how they twist the links. It's really something incredible to watch. I wish I could have everybody in there, but for insurance purposes, we can't. But that's why we do all the videos on Instagram to show.
Very, very cool. And I think a lot of people probably don't realize if they have old broken jewelry at home. I mean, I'm assuming, do you buy jewelry also and old jewelry and melt it down and stuff for remaking and whatnot?
Yes, so we do that with gold. For silver, we can't, because the product we make is actually pure silver. We use 99.9% silver, and we have to use like a mint grade silver to make the jewelry. That's what differentiates us from everybody else, is we're actually selling like a pure product.
That's amazing. Yeah, because I think for jewelry, a lot of times they mix other metals with the silver to make it firm enough, right? So that they could wear the jewelry, but you can't do that, because then you'd be diluting it even more. But when you take gold, I know that my father had some old broken gold in the closet. He's 95. He's like, we just dump it. I said, no, we took it to a jewelry
No.
store in the New York area. He didn't realize he had about $10,000 worth of old jewelry, just a few chains, but they were heavy. And with the amount of gold is at $5,000 plus an ounce right now. People don't realize what they might have in their closets, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's why when people say, jewelry can be a good long-term investment, this is the exact point. You have jewelry that's been sitting in the drawer for 20, 30 years, and you go and take it and you turn it into cash, and you can reinvest it, or you can buy more jewelry with it, instead of just having, jewelry that's just sitting in a drawer not doing anything for you. But yeah, absolutely. With gold being at an all-time high, a lot of people have taken their jewelry from their drawers and sold it, and doubled, triple, quadrupled their money. They could have bought it at $500 an ounce, and now it's $5,000 an ounce, which is really wild.
I am old enough to remember when it was $500 an ounce, by the way. I'm 58 years old. I do remember it. I remember buying a few years ago, I bought it at $1,500 an ounce. I bought some for investment, and everybody said I was nuts. It'll never get above 1,500. I remember that conversation with someone at work.
Yeah.
It will never get above $1,500. You just wasted your money. Okay. I have to find that person to have that conversation again now. I need to ask you then, because being in the jewelry business, that's a very unique business. Was this a family business? Does this go back, Miami Links, to previous generations?
Actually, it does not, believe it or not. So I'm a Marine veteran, and I wanted to start my own business. I'm actually 42, and 5 years ago I decided I wanted to exit the corporate world and start my own business. And I was very much into jewelry, just like you were saying. Your dad had jewelry. I don't know if he had ever handed it down to you, but I was handed down a really nice Cuban bracelet, and that kind of inspired me to start something unique, and bring really high quality products to the market.
Unbelievable. Good for you, man. Thank you for your service. By the way, my dad is a Marine as well, 95, still very much alive, still has the
Tell
U.S. and
him
the Marine
hoorah.
flag right out at the front door. Hoorah. Absolutely. Oh, we do that for sure. He is a big, very proud Marine. He was an MP sergeant, lunatic, nicknamed Bulldog. I'll let you figure the rest out. But he was in the Korean War, so I'll tell him. I'll make sure he watches this segment.
Amazing. Thank
Where
him for
is
his service.
I definitely, and thank you back. I just with about a minute left, where is Miami Links if people in South Florida want to get down and check out your beautiful jewelry line?
Yeah, so we're strictly online. So all the online channels: Instagram Miami Links, MiamiLinks.com. We have Facebook Miami Links. We have Pinterest Miami Links. So we have all the Miami Links.
Very cool. Well, I just from the little bit I saw, the stuff is amazing. It's beautiful. Thank you again for your service, Dan Trujillo, founder of Miami Links. Thank you for coming on this morning. Have a wonderful day
Thank
and
you,
stay
Ken.
warm.
Really appreciate your time. Yes, sir.
You bet. You too. Thank you. It is 58 minutes past the hour for those watching on LACA on the West Coast. Stay tuned for your local news. If you're watching on New Jersey, we'll be back live with New Jersey news, opinion, weather, and traffic. Thanks for watching Mornings with Ken Rosato. See you again tomorrow.
Play it like the New York Sirens. Live in the spotlight. Etch your name in lights. Embrace the noise. And when it calls you, turn it up. Get louder. Play it like they'll hear us everywhere. Because this is our team. New York Sirens. Play it big.
very good morning to you. It is 8 a.m. on Tuesday, February 3rd, 2026. Welcome to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato. We'll take your calls at 888-658-0234. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with a full check of the Garden State forecast.
This weather is brought to you by Audio Nova, your hearing experts, serving all of New Jersey with 13 locations.
So, Mike, we just had on Dan Trujillo from Miami Lynx talking about how they dealt with tariffs with his jewelry business. And he's in South Florida, and I'm headed down later today. I'll be doing the show from there tomorrow. But the funny thing is, for those who don't know about South Florida, very tropical, you have falling iguanas in the cold. It's only 47 degrees in Miami right now. It got down to the 30s in Fort Lauderdale last night, which is only 20 minutes away. And what happens is iguanas are cold-blooded animals. So their metabolism slow down when the temperature gets cold. They literally kind of go into dormancy in the trees and fall. So you could be walking by and all of a sudden you get hit in the head with an iguana. I've had it happen to me, a big one. And then they wake up after the sun hits them on the ground, but they're in hibernation. So it rains iguanas in South Florida this time of year.
It was unique to see the alert from the Weather Service that it's like a falling iguana advisory, but it's true. It's true. We have some falling temperatures here in New Jersey, Ken, that will get so cold this weekend. I think we'll have our coldest wind chill yet of the season. So dare I say the worst is yet to come. Look at all the single digits right now. Actual air temperatures across northwestern New Jersey. Down in the cities, it is in the teens. But when you factor in that wind chill, it feels like it's 11 in Newark, 2 in Hackensack, and 8 over in Long Branch. So very cold weather today, even though the winds are only between 5 and 7 miles per hour. I mean, anything greater than a sneeze will make that gust of wind feel that much greater. And even up toward there in northern New Jersey, you have all of that cold weather. Well, today, if you're headed out to any of the clinic locations at Audio Nova, and look at how the temperatures make it back up above the freezing mark for the second day in a row. This is our warm stretch. This is our little heat wave in the middle of winter with temperatures that will be just at or slightly above freezing today, tomorrow, and then it's about it because we're back down to the cold once we get to the end of the week. There's a little bit of snow that comes in later tonight south of Atlantic City, pick up a quick inch, and then it moves out by tomorrow morning. The rest of the state just stays brutally cold with the actual air temperatures diving down into the teens again for Thursday, single digits for Friday morning, but Friday afternoon has some light snow statewide. It's a clipper system. Again, could give us a dusting to an inch, last throughout the day, and then the real cold is on. These are actual air temperatures for Saturday morning, down below 0 for most of the state. With wind, that translates to 20 to 30 degrees below 0 with a wind chill for Saturday morning. A really harsh cold. We'll tell you more about that and show you those maps. Coming up, Ken, with our next weather update.
That is unbelievable cold. My goodness, not looking forward to the weekend. Oh, wait a second. I won't be in New Jersey this weekend. Oh, I know. Don't rub it in, Ken, because the people viewing are going to be cold. I know. Just come down. Listen, everybody's invited. Hop on a cheap flight. Come down to South Florida. We'll all hang out. That's it. Although it's 47 degrees there right now, but it's still better than single digits. Mike, we'll check back, sir. Thank you very much. A lot of traffic in the area this morning. And by the way, the temperature is 23 in Trenton right now, and it's 24 northern New Jersey, 21 degrees in Vineland. We have snow removal going on both directions on the Goethals Bridge. We have a crash now. We have the video of this on I-78 local lanes eastbound, east of exit 51, Burnett Avenue, Union Township. The right lane of 3 lanes closed, but you can see the emergency lights. Look at what this is doing. We now have about a mile delay. Again, this is on I-78 local lanes eastbound, just east of exit 51, Burnett Avenue, Union Township. We have a water main break now, Route 30 westbound, east of Airport Circle, which is in Pennsauken, 3 right lanes of 4 lanes closed. And we have, Lincoln Tunnel is now reporting 35 minutes across, 25 minutes at the Holland, and we go over to the GWB, and we have a real slowdown right now. If you look on the right, that's the upper level, lower on the left. The lower is moving a little bit better because on the upper level, there is a disabled tractor trailer mid-span. So everybody's going slow to try to get around that, and that's causing some problems. So just be aware of that. It's about 40 to 45 minutes getting across the GWB at this hour, but at least it is moving. 5 minutes past the hour, early voting is underway for New Jersey's 11th congressional district. It is a special primary election to fill the seat once occupied by now Governor Mikey Sherrill. Early voting ends at 8 tonight, and then the actual primary election will be held this Friday, February 5th. And the general election for the special seat will be held on April 16th. 12 Democrats, excuse me as I cough. Thank you. 12 Democrats are running in the primary. The one Republican, Joe Hathaway, is running unopposed. The ICE agents nabbed a bunch of people in Jersey City, Hoboken, and New Brunswick over the weekend, including on New Jersey transit lines. Local officials did express concern, asking residents to record immigration enforcement activity and report any irregularities. But look, they're following the law. It doesn't seem like something we want as people who are empathetic, right? We are concerned whenever somebody who seems to be just a hardworking person, and they are very hardworking, 99%, very good, hardworking people, good contributors to society. Unfortunately, because for good or bad reasons, the previous administration allowed 10 to 20 million people into our country without going through the proper process. That created mayhem, likely intentional. We could get into that in another conversation. The problem is we have laws. And because of the laws, okay, I feel silly having to explain this. Because of the laws, back in 2001, right after 9/11, we created ICE, and that replaced the old INS, Immigration Naturalization Service. All right. Their only job, as created by Congress, is to round up people here who are not here under our legal system and deport them. That's their only function. So the idea that we have people saying they're kidnapping people, they're throwing them in jail. Under federal law, we've already tried saying, come on, report yourselves, deport yourselves. That didn't work, right? It worked to some extent, but not to the point of 20 million. So the issue is, if you self-deport, you will be allowed to do it on your own using the CBP app. You will be given a plane ticket home. No other country will do that. You will be given $1,000 once you get home, and you could prove you're home, right? And then you'll be allowed to apply legally to come back to the United States. It's a very simple system. Yeah, nobody wants to go through lifting up, uprooting your family and doing it. That's the law. It was the law under Obama and Biden and Bush. It is the law under Trump. You don't have to like Trump. You could despise Trump, but that's the law. ICE is not the Gestapo. ICE is not Nazis. They are doing their job. You have a bunch of propagandists calling all police Nazis and Gestapo now, trying to tell an entire generation or two of people that that is the case. Advice: follow the advice, go home and apply to come back as U.S. citizens. I will be the one to meet you at the airport and welcome you with open arms. Just go through the process. It's as simple as that. So I get upset because there are people who are being disingenuous, who are playing you like dummies when they tell you they're breaking down doors and kidnapping innocent people. There is a law. You don't follow the law, you get arrested. That's the way it works. You go into somebody's house uninvited, you will get arrested. It's the way it works. So please stop with the hyperbole. Stop. Nobody likes to see somebody getting arrested with their kids. I don't like to see it either. My family were immigrants. I have lots of friends who are immigrants. Yo puedo hablar español con toda la gente que quiere hablar conmigo. My family came from Argentina and Italy. All right. And believe me, they went through the process. It took years to come in, but there's a system for a reason. All right. It is so that we don't have mayhem in the United States. So please, let's stay calm about this. I'm getting tired of the hyperbole, which is being fostered by certain very radical groups in the extreme of the left. I'm not saying Democrats. I'm talking about socialists and communists. Yes, it sounds like communist. Yes. So we need to stay calm. All right. 9 minutes after the hour on Sunday, the TSA rolled out TSA Confirm ID. It's an alternative identity verification system for travelers who don't have real ID or other acceptable ID. Passengers without compliant ID can still fly by paying $45. That shifts the cost from taxpayers to non-compliant travelers. By the way, you could blame Governor Murphy for this in New Jersey, because we knew since 2002 that we would need real ID. And it kept getting put off and put off and put off. Every other state around us People got their real ID. But Governor Murphy decided not to talk about it and not to promote it. And now all of a sudden, when our driver's licenses were no longer going to be accepted at airports, there was a mad dash. People are waiting now for a year to get real ID in New Jersey. That's why they're offering Confirm ID as an option if you don't have a passport. So understand why we needed this. Certain states, starting with California, then New York, and then it spread to about 17 states in the country, decided to allow people who are not documented migrants in the United States to have driver's licenses. I get that. That's fine, because people do need to get around, get to a job, etc. The problem is they didn't denote anything different on the driver's license itself if the person was a non-citizen. And the problem at that point became you can't use the driver's license anymore to depict yourself as a citizen if we don't know if you're a citizen or not when you get the license. Does that make sense? So because of the intentional way, the intentional confusing way that certain states did it, so that legal migrants and illegal migrants, citizens and non, got the same license, that forced citizens to go out, spend money, and take the time and make an appointment to get real ID licenses. Didn't have to happen. Florida, it didn't happen. Texas, it didn't happen. California, it happened. New York and New Jersey, it happened. You could thank your government for that. Governor Mikey Sherrill has declared what she calls an electricity affordability emergency, proposing executive actions to freeze or offset utility rate hikes amid steep increases. Notice the careful wording there, offset. When an official says they're going to offset, that means you don't pay for it, we're going to make them pay for it. That's offset. That's Governor Sherrill. So listen to the code words. Don't put it past her and her party to only freeze electric rates for people in certain income brackets at the expense of everybody else. Again, this was done, and the reason why we have this increase in electric rates is because people who are in control, Governor Murphy and others, decided to shut down 6 power plants without first getting other plants to replace them up and running. And that's why we now have some of the most expensive electricity in the entire country. And Moltbook is a new platform where only AI agents can post, comment, and upvote while humans are allowed to observe. Within days of the launch, more than 37,000 AI agents joined, with over 1 million human visitors watching their interactions. Creator Matt Schlicht says his AI assistant, Claude Clauderberg, autonomously runs the site, moderating content, deleting spam, and banning abusers. If you don't think that's creepy, there is something wrong with you. It is now a chilly 20 degrees here at 8:13, a mix of clouds and sun this morning. We'll be back in 2 minutes. You're watching on New Jersey Mornings.
Play it like the New York Sirens. Live in the spotlight. Etch your name in lights. Embrace the noise. And when it calls you, turn it up. Get louder. Play it like they'll hear us everywhere. Because this is our team. New York Sirens. Play it big.
Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato at 8:15, taking calls at 888-658-0234. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has your Garden State forecast.
This weather is brought to you by Audio Nova, your hearing experts, serving all of New Jersey with 13 locations.
Mike, just a personal moment. I want to give a shout out to the folks at Chick-fil-A in South Florida, in Boca Raton. Here's why. Mother-in-law and father-in-law used to make it their morning routine. They're retired. They would walk about 2 miles every morning to Chick-fil-A, have their breakfast sandwich, and then walk 2 miles back. That was part of their exercise. Father-in-law unfortunately passed in December. And because this beautiful couple, my in-laws, would go there every day, not only did the Chick-fil-A team show up at the funeral, and they were there for hours, and they brought little toys for the grandchildren, they are now putting a plaque at the booth where my mother-in-law and father-in-law would sit every day and have their breakfast in honor of them. And they sent out a message to them saying, please come and take a picture with the plaque at
Wow.
Sweet. I've never heard of a business being that generous and that kind. So we're all going to get together when we're in South Florida and take a selfie at the booth in honor of my late
That is
father-in-law,
wonderful.
John,
That
who's
is
a
wonderful.
good man. Very sweet.
Amazing story.
Anyway.
Touching story. Well, I don't know how many people are walking outside today, Ken, no matter where you are up and down the East Coast. It's frigid. You need every layer possible just to get outside. I was even thinking this morning, remember, back in the fall, would take the stroll to the bagel shop before the show. Not with weather this cold, especially when we're down in the teens and single digits in the morning, and our highs are only making it just to the freezing mark across New Jersey. Then you have the wind, and it's the biting wind that arrives by this weekend after a little bit of a gusty breeze throughout later tonight and tomorrow. Look at how these wind chills by tomorrow morning are down below 0 across northwestern New Jersey. We do it again on Thursday. Single digits feels like temperatures at the coast. And then for Friday, yes, cold again. But watch what happens for Saturday morning when the Arctic air returns and we get a very gusty wind. These are your feels like temperatures. Minus 29 degrees in Morristown, minus 17 over in Newark, minus 24 in Trenton. I wish I were making this up, but this is the raw data showing that it's going to be incredibly cold with the actual air temperatures down around 0, the wind on top of that Saturday morning gusting to 20 miles an hour, making it feel that much colder. A lot of clear sky today up and down the East Coast, including for us here in New Jersey. And then we have a few clouds later on this evening across southern parts of the state. Atlantic City and south, you get a quick round of snow, maybe a dusting to an inch. Later tonight, it likely melts with tomorrow's sunshine and temperatures above freezing. Then it's cold and clear through to Thursday. Friday has another quick clipper system that comes through during the afternoon, likely just flurries, maybe a dusting, and then it'll move on by. There's that less than an inch of snow that happens across portions of southern New Jersey, and then maybe an inch, perhaps up to an inch throughout the day on Friday. I really think that 2 is a little bit high, but it will work with that because clipper systems never give us more than 3 inches, so that's the absolute high end, and that's not even enough to do much. Then there's the weekend with the extreme cold kind of returning with afternoon highs only getting to 18 degrees. It's another round of a brutal, frigid weekend ahead, but everybody's going to be inside watching the Olympics, right? Watching the game this weekend. The big game is on. If you've noticed, Ken, if you've been checking traffic, because, we do a lot of weekend side trips, there has been no traffic on the usual thoroughways and fairways across New Jersey or even the area because nobody wants to leave. It's just that cold.
Yeah, no, with the exception of the icy spinouts that happen here and there and the Hudson River crossings. You're right. Local roads, for the most part, not so much. You're absolutely right. Stay inside, work remotely if you can. All right, Mike, thank you, sir. 16 degrees now, northern New Jersey, 17 actually, northern New Jersey. It's 23 in Trenton. That's a reversal. Usually northern New Jersey where we are, it's usually a little warmer, but it is now much colder, northern New Jersey where we are. And as I mentioned, 23 in Trenton. It is 24 degrees down in Cape May and 20 degrees in Vineland. In terms of traffic, we have some issues to talk about. Let's go to the Garden State Parkway first. Actually, we have a debris on the Garden State Parkway southbound, south of exit 50. That's in Bass River Township, 1 center lane blocked. Now we go to 1 and 9, the truck route northbound by the Passaic River drawbridge in Newark. The right lane of 2 lanes closed. So look at that. Yeah, that's what that was. You can go back to that. Oh no, that was one I okay. But there is a connection, Pam. Pam is in my ear. No, that's 78. Right. There is a connection because the 1 in 9 incident is at 78. So there is see, there's a nexus, Pam. So that what you're looking at is a crash on 78 local lanes eastbound, east of exit 51 Burnett Avenue, Union Township, right lane of 3 lanes closed. So there is a connection to the 1 in 9 overlap that we just talked about. Water main break now on US 30, westbound east of Airport Circle in Pennsauken Township, 3 right lanes of the 4 lanes closed. That's causing massive problems right now. The Hudson River crossings, Lincoln Tunnel reporting 35 minutes into Manhattan. The Holland Tunnel rather is 25 minutes in. GWB upper and lower levels pretty heavy, especially on the upper side, which is on the right. They're talking 40 to 45 minutes in on the upper, and it's about 35 to 40 on the lower. Don't know why that middle lane is stopped. It might just be something at one of the toll booths. You see people flying around that middle lane, but just be aware of that. We'll keep an eye on that. But nonetheless, it's going to cost you around 40-ish minutes to get in via the GWB. 8:21 is our time. Playa Bowls has become a go-to brand for delicious, fresh, feel-good food. The company has worked very hard to build a loyal audience too. Abby Taylor is the founder and chief marketing officer of Playa Bowls. She's here to talk about how it is scaling without losing its soul. We say good morning to you and welcome, Abby. Good to have you on.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
You bet. Well, Playa Bowls, it's already become an iconic brand. And that took a lot of work, I'm sure, to get it there, a lot of hard work and effort. And it continues to grow here in New Jersey. So what is driving the impetus?
I think that we have a really loyal customer base. And, we started in Belmar, New Jersey at a cart, literally at the side of the road on Ocean Avenue. And a lot of people have grown with us and they've become part of the brand and part of the story. And they can feel how authentic it is and they're part of that growth. And I think that that's a big piece of the success in helping us grow.
And you've emphasized staying true to identity, right? To the identity of Playa Bowls, but there are always changes. So how do you implement the changes and support the long-term vision of the company without being catastrophically different and upsetting the people who like what they have?
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's really tough, but I do feel like it's in my DNA and I speak the language and Playa Bowls is me and I know how to do that. So even as we grow and we're expanding to different states across the country, it's important for me to be in there and kind of overseeing things and making sure that it all looks and feels how it should. And it's really important to the growth.
Now you talk about a loyal customer base. How do you gain? I mean, I guess that's the big secret. I guess if you don't want to share, you don't have to. How do you get a loyal customer base? Is it just making a product that no one else can make the way you do it? Because it is ultra fresh and ultra good. But to keep them coming back, that's a very difficult thing.
I always say that I think if somebody comes to Playa Bowls and they try our product and we get the product in their hand, they're really, really going to love it. So it's just getting it in their hand that first time. And then when they come and they feel the experience of the shop and they feel the vibe that we create, we talk about the vibe a lot at Playa Bowls and it's something unique. When you go into another bowl place or juice place, it doesn't have that same vibe that we put off and it's really an experience. So creating that experience and being part of their everyday habits is something that's really important.
And Playa Bowls is, of course, has a very strong culture and beach-inspired mission. For those that don't realize, playa means beach. What are the non-negotiables when it comes to preserving that culture during a period of rapid growth?
I think sticking to the things that make us unique, like the interiors of the shop, like we were talking about, making sure that the product names align with the brand and that it all kind of flows together and posting on social media and keeping the vibe and having surfing front facing is important to keeping all of that, especially as we grow.
And you just mentioned it. You mentioned something that is a code word there, social media or code words.
Yeah.
How important is it to really have a powerful social media presence? And what kind of response do you get from your social media campaign?
It's so important. And I know at the end of the day, when people have a business, like you don't want to go home and have to go on there and be answering DMs or comments, but engaging with the customer on there and responding to comments, responding to those DMs and staying at it is really, really important. It's just huge. Today we launched our February specials. So that will be for the month of February. So obviously we use social media. We put up some amazing photos on there. to talk to our guests, but every single day you have to be on social media and being out there in the community.
Do you have a dedicated team that just does that?
Yeah, we do. And they're amazing. And sometimes they have these crazy ideas and I'm like, oh, I don't know. And then stuff will go viral and they really are really great at their jobs.
I mean, look, I'm an older person. I'm not necessarily in your demographic. I'm a 58-year-old male suburbanite, but yet I've tried Pliables. Your stuff is amazing. It is fantastic. And I do use social media, not as actively as say my nephews and nieces, but I do. And so I think social media, the old stereotype of, oh, it's only 18 to 34-year-old this or whatever, I think that's being shattered. It's growing. Certainly, it took older folks a
Absolutely.
little longer, but it's definitely, there is a place for them. Maybe they're using Facebook more than Instagram, but there is a place for sure. And
And
you're
talking
working
to those
closely now with
different
them. Yeah,
and
go
talking to
ahead. I'm
them
sorry.
differently on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, it's different people in each thing. So it's kind of adjusting how we're speaking to them is really important.
Absolutely. The
Yeah.
imagery and has got to be just slightly curtailed, right? And you have a new
Yes.
CEO now. How does that collaboration help guide Pliables to the next phase?
Yeah, he's been great. John is such a leader. It's been wonderful just to learn from him and sort of, having him mentor everybody. We have a lot of people who are really young at the brand who have been here since the beginning. And it's been great to bring in people with more experience who have done this in the past and learn from them and really being open to the changes.
How many locations are there now of Pliables?
I don't know exactly because every single weekend we have locations opening, but we're getting close to the 400th shop.
That's unbelievable. But I shouldn't say unbelievable. It is believable, but something you should all be very proud of because at a period when you have chains that have contracted because they don't do the investigation, the research that you all do, and maintaining the quality that you do, they're all closing. And it says something to the effort you make and the research you do, why Pliables is such a success. Abby Taylor, founder and chief marketing officer of Pliables, we thank you for joining us this morning. Please come back again. All the best. May you have another 400 open the next time we talk.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
You bet. It is now a chilly 26 degrees at 8:28. The phone lines are open. We'll take your calls at 888-658-0234. You're watching On New Jersey Mornings. We're back in 2 minutes.
Play it like the New York Sirens. Live in the spotlight. Etch your name in lights. Embrace the noise. And when it calls you, turn it up. Get louder. Play it like they'll hear us everywhere. Because this is our team. New York Sirens. Play it big.
morning. It's Tuesday, February 3rd, 2026. It is a chilly 20 degrees now at 8:30. I'm Ken Rosato. Welcome back to On New Jersey Morning. Sunshine this morning, clouds in the afternoon, highs mid-30s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with a detailed Garden State forecast.
This weather is brought to you by Audio Nova, your hearing experts, serving all of New Jersey with 13 locations.
All right, Mike, I never thought I would say, wow, it's 23 in Trenton. I'll take it.
And yet, that's going to be a pipe dream come this weekend. We won't even get to a high that leaves the teens by Saturday. So enjoy the little mild stretch as we enjoy a little bit of clear sky across New Jersey, some cloud cover moving in, but overall a fine start to the day. As we head into the next few hours, anticipate a little bit of a warm up into the mid-30s down the shore. That'll be from Manahawkin to Egg Harbor City, right down through Atlantic City and Cape May. A beautiful afternoon. Lots of sun with temperatures that'll almost get to our average high of 41. That'll feel quite nice. So as we go into the next few days, there is another round of cold weather, which brings some light snow to southern New Jersey later on tonight, and then even some accumulating snow for most of the state by Friday. Here's that little bit of light snow that comes across really southern portions of the state south of the Atlantic City Expressway. Maybe pick up a dusting to an inch by tomorrow morning. Then we're sunny for the day tomorrow. We're quiet for the day on Thursday, right through the afternoon. But what happens on Friday is a quick passing clipper system, which looks potent enough to provide a little bit of a dusting, maybe a coating up to an inch, I think, statewide, during the day on Friday, leading to a brutally cold wind and new air mass on Saturday that will keep temperatures in the teens throughout the afternoon for highs. So we're in the 30s today and tomorrow, back in the 20s by Thursday and Friday. And then look what happens by this weekend. Teens as highs, single digits in the morning, and that even includes the coastal neighborhoods, which will be down and near the single digits each afternoon, each morning, climbing to the 20s each afternoon. I think a week from tomorrow is when we finally get back up to just average, and that means our highs climb above freezing and stay there, Ken, in about 8 days' time. So we have our last little fling with this awful, awful cold, and then we're right up to where we should be, and hopefully we keep climbing beyond that, because that's what the long range predicts, a little bit of a milder trend going into the next few weeks.
It's since I started as a baby DJ in radio back when I was like in my teens, and that was a lot of years ago, Mike. I used to always say, as long as you get to March, because yes, we've had historic snowstorms in March. I get it, but the temperature fluctuates in March, right? You have a day who's 20, a day that's 50, a day that's 70. We had a 77-degree day in March a couple of years ago, so that the snow won't last. So I always say, if we survive, we make it to March, then we will have, then it's home stretch, because in April, that's one of my favorite months. So you want to make it to March, and March is only 3.5 weeks away. So there you have it. So Pam enjoyed her winter. Pam wanted her cold winter. Our director, Pam, you got your winter. I never want to hear Pam bitch about winter again, or bitch in a good way, wanting winter again. You got your winter, Pam. Now we're allowed to have 100 days of 100+ degrees, Pam. I don't want to hear it. All right, there we go. Thank you very much, Mike. We appreciate it, sir. It is 23 degrees in Trenton, 21 degrees in northern New Jersey. Of course, I'm kidding. Pam likes cold weather, but not what we've had. And I like warm weather and not 100-degree plus. I'm just using hyperbole, of course. In terms of traffic right now, let us go over to 1 and 9. We have a crash on 1 and 9, the truck route northbound by the Passaic River Drawbridge in Newark. Right lane of 2 lanes closed. You can see what it's causing right now, residual delays there. Snow removal on the Goethals Bridge westbound from the New York side to the New Jersey side. That's all from the snow we had a week and a half ago. They had it pushed to the right lane, but it blocked the right lane. So now they're going to clear all that off today. They started yesterday, but it's a big procedure. Long bridge. We also have a disabled truck on I-80 eastbound west of exit 53, Route 23 in Wayne. Right lane of 4 lanes closed there. That's causing massive messes. I-78 now, local lanes eastbound. There's a crash east of exit 51, Burnett Avenue, Union Township. The right lane of 3 lanes closed. And look at the mess that's causing. Again, that's I-78, local lanes eastbound, east of exit 51, Burnett Avenue in Union Township. Water main break to report, Route 30, and that is westbound east of Airport Circle, Pennsauken. 3 of the 4 lanes closed. We look at the Hudson River crossing. Oh, you do have 80. That's good. Let's do that, Pam. Thank you. I mentioned briefly there was a disabled truck on, look at that. There we go. Pam found it. Disabled truck on I-80 eastbound west of exit 53, Route 23 in Wayne, and the right lane of 4 lanes closed. And look at that. Usually with only 1 lane closed, it doesn't cause that kind of a delay, but it sure has. Thank you for finding that, Pam. We appreciate that. The Hudson River crossings right now, Lincoln is now 35 minutes. It's all volume. The Harlem. See, Hudson, Harlem, those are train lines. The Holland Tunnel, is 25 minutes. And the GWB, upper and lower levels, we still have a problem with a disabled tractor trailer on the upper level. So that's causing a little bit of a slowdown. Those are the lanes on the right, lanes on the left, lower level, moving just about 5 minutes faster into Manhattan. Either way, it'll cost you about 40 to 45 minutes in. 8:36 is our time, and New Jersey's annual point-in-time count shows homelessness continuing to rise statewide, with the highest number recorded in years. Volunteers surveyed both sheltered and unsheltered homeless, showing an increase in numbers in comparison to recent years. Homeless advocates blame high rents and housing shortages, but many experts are pointing out to 60% of chronic homeless are either substance abusers or mentally unstable. We have done so little to help mental instability in this country. We need to do something about that. You will solve much of the problem. Until those issues are dealt with, the reality is that homelessness will likely remain high. And a lot of random crimes as well, because these are people who can't help themselves psychologically. Add to that 1 million or so illegal migrants in the state of New Jersey. And again, I'm not trying to besmirch them, but you come here and you need to eat. You have to have a job, and you end up homeless in many cases. And you can see why the numbers are rising. The organization will not ask a person's citizenship status, so it's hard to get a hardcore number as to how many are legal versus illegal, how many have mental instability or drug addiction. They don't ask those. It's just more on random surveys or from doctors' offices who ask outright, do you have a drug issue? Well, homelessness went up from 12,680 individuals last year to 13,748 the next year. So 2 years ago to last year, I should say. That is a near 9% increase. What is the percent of the state's population that is recently arrived illegal migrants? 9%. So do the math. You can figure out why we had that increase. But it has to be dealt with. And folks, you had over a dozen people freeze to death on the streets of New York because the mayor there, Mamdani, did not want to impose bringing them in off the streets when the temperature dropped below 32. But it is not being cruel to make people leave the street when it's freezing out. You are being compassionate. You can't let people freeze to death, especially people who don't know any better, who have a drug addiction or who have psychological imbalance. You need to get them off the streets when it falls below 32 degrees. It's not to hurt them, it is to save them. 8:38, Today's Show host Savannah Guthrie's mom, Nancy, was likely snatched from her Tucson bed as she slept, that according to Arizona police. There were cameras at the rural $1 million property. Investigators are pouring through video and say the cops are investigating Nancy's disappearance as a crime. The beloved elderly grandmother was last seen Saturday night after one of her kids dropped her off at home. She was reported missing the next day when she failed to show up for church. A partial federal government shutdown began Sunday after Congress failed to pass full appropriations over disagreements regarding immigration enforcement funding and reforms. The shutdown affects agencies, including the Department of Transportation, IRS, and Labor, delaying data releases, and that's including the January jobs report. Essential services such as Social Security, Medicare, and air traffic control will continue operating, but workers may go unpaid until funding is restored. The Senate passed a bipartisan funding deal that includes a short-term extension for DHS to allow continued negotiation over reforms, but the House did not vote on that because they were already dismissed for the long weekend. They took a long weekend, keeping the shutdown in effect. And Speaker Johnson says he believes he has enough Republican votes to pass the deal sometime today. So hopefully that'll end any shutdown. We saw Punxsutawney Phil make his prediction live on this very broadcast. 25 hours ago. He saw his shadow, meaning that we will have 6 more weeks of winter, supposedly. Staten Island Chuck made the same forecast, but few people know that there are also 2 New Jersey groundhogs and a turtle, a box turtle, who made predictions. Stonewall Jackson is a groundhog in Sussex County. He did not see his shadow, signaling an early spring for Garden Staters. Lady Edwina of Essex County did see her shadow, and that means she believes there will be 6 more weeks of winter. Edwina also forecast a Seattle Seahawks Super Bowl victory over the Patriots for this weekend, by the way. A first-time predictor, Timothy the Eastern Box Turtle at Rowan University's Edelman Fossil Park, also saw his shadow, signaling 6 more weeks of winter. It's getting crazy. The first bridge across the Delaware River at Trenton opened January 30th, 1806. I was there. It was designed by Theodore Burr, and it's celebrated as an engineering marvel. It was at its time. The covered wooden bridge featured an innovative arch truss design, open sides, dual cartways, suspended floors, lightning rods, and elaborate piers. Visitors came to see it from all over the nation. It was the second covered bridge in the United States, the first to connect 2 states, and the first to carry interstate railroad traffic. Well, there must have been a Democratic governor because they were charging tolls on vehicles, animals, and pedestrians. Remember, there were no cars back then. Vehicle meant you had a horse and buggy. Over time, wooden structures were replaced with iron and steel bridges as railroad use expanded. Today's lower Trenton toll-supported bridge sits atop the original abutments and piers from Burr's original 1806 bridge. So if you want to check out a little amazing history close to home, check it out. So the bridge that's standing there, the abutments are the original abutments from 1806. That is just amazing. I love that history. In terms of weather, once again, Mike telling us it's going to be cold this weekend. We had a little warm up yesterday, today, a little milder. We say warm up into the mid 30s, but nonetheless, it's going to get very, very cold again, single digits this weekend, highs only into the teens and 20s. But the wind chill will make it feel colder than that. Right now, 26 degrees northern New Jersey, 23 degrees in Trenton. When we come back, we're highlighting a powerful partnership focused on clean water education and community impact in Camden. Sunshine this morning, clouds in the afternoon, again highs in the mid-30s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta will return with your full Garden State forecast, and we will take your calls at 888-658-0234, 888-658-0234. You're watching On New Jersey Mornings, seen all over New Jersey and New York, and now again in California on our new channel on LACA. We're back in 2 minutes. Don't go away.
Play it like the New York Sirens. Live in the spotlight. Etch your name in lights. Embrace the noise. And when it calls you, turn it up. Get louder. Play it like they'll hear us everywhere. Because this is our team. New York Sirens. Play it big.
Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato at 8:45, taking calls at 888-658-0234. Sunshine this morning, clouds in the afternoon, highs mid-30s. We go to meteorologist Mike Favetta with the full detailed Garden State forecast.
This weather is brought to you by Audio Nova, your hearing experts, serving all of New Jersey with 13 locations.
All right, Mike, we're soaring up there, 23 in Trenton, and it is 21 in northern New Jersey. I could almost feel the balminess.
That is soaring. Get the flip-flops and shorts ready because it's going to be really warm this week. Yeah, we'll get up to 40, I think, by tomorrow. It'll feel very pleasant throughout northern New Jersey, whereas the rest of the weekend just goes downhill. Look at the cold weather that spreads through the Northeast and New Jersey right through the middle of February. So anticipating slightly below average chances of temperatures going into the middle of this month. But it's the highs today, which are impressive. 38 degrees in Wayne, and impressive. I mean, that's a feat considering how cold it's been. 35 is your high in Jersey City. Bringing back the cold again for the weekend. After a few days of milder weather, we're back down below zero with wind chills throughout this weekend. Actual air temperatures diving down into the single digits into early next week and only rebounding about 8 days from now. Next Wednesday is when I think we back above the freezing mark and stay there. Might make it Tuesday down the shore at 35 degrees. So the harshest cold, I think, repeats itself again this weekend. And then there's a little light at the end of the tunnel, bringing back some milder weather. But, Ken, the problem is, and here's the issue, it puts us back in that pattern where we see a system come by every 3 to 4 days because that's where the jet stream lifts up a little further north, gives us some milder weather, but also gives us more chances of snow and rain and ice. So we'll be on our toes for the next few weeks here.
I'm guessing the good news is we're not in a drought situation now anymore. Is that the case?
Well, we have to wait for this precip to melt and thaw and then see how that translates to reservoirs. So TBD, the jury's still out on that.
Yeah. Because I know that winters, we love to say, oh, we had no snow this winter. It was a great winter, but that leaves us in serious drought potential for the spring and summer. So we do need snow. It's a good thing to get a certain amount of snow. And of course, when the snow hits the mountains, it also runs down into the river, right? So we get
Oh, totally. I mean, we as common folk look around and go, oh, look at all the pretty snow. But the hydrologists go, aha, future water storage for the spring. And that's what's on tap for us.
Absolutely. Thank God we have people who look for that because that's essential. We take it for granted. We turn on a tap and we assume water will be there, but there are a lot of folks in this country who can't take that for granted. Mike, appreciate you, sir. Stay warm and we will see you mañana. It is 8:48 right now, 22 degrees northern New Jersey, 23 degrees in Trenton, 21 degrees now in Vineland, and 21 at Cape May. At 8:48 in terms of traffic, Route 80 right now at Route 23, we still have this problem. Take a look at that. You can see there was an incident there. That was an earlier crash off to the right shoulder, still causing delays. At least they have the lane open. The right lane had been closed. It's now open, but you could see the delays there on the shoulder, and that's causing a slowdown as folks pass that area. Again, that's I-80 at Route 2346, and that's causing some little bit of a slowdown there. Not a massive amount, but nonetheless. Just to give you an update on that. We have snow removal operations going on the Goethals Bridge westbound from New York to New Jersey, and that is to remove the snow that built up a couple of weeks ago on the right side. The right lane basically was blocked by snow. They had to put it somewhere. We have a crash on 295 northbound south of exit 61, Arena Drive in Hamilton. 2 right lanes and the right shoulder are closed. On the turnpike, there's a crash on the outer roadway northbound north of interchange 12, and that is in Carteret-Rahway. Or it says Carteret-Rahway Linden on the sign. The left lane is closed there. And your Hudson River cross. 1 and 9. We have that crash yet. The truck route northbound by Passaic River Drawbridge in Newark. The right lane is closed there. And a water main break, Route 30 westbound east of Airport Circle in Pennsauken. 3 right lanes of 4 lanes. That's causing a mess, all closed in that area. Now, the Hudson River crossings. We are told right now that the Holland Tunnel is your best bet. It's 20 minutes in. It's 25 minutes now at the Lincoln. GWB upper and lower levels moving a little bit better. You can see the lower level on the left is definitely a good flow. That's going to cost you about 25 minutes in, 30 minutes on the upper on the right. 8:49, and this morning we're highlighting a powerful partnership focused on clean water, education, and community impact in Camden. Joining us are Carrie Williams, president of the American Water Charitable Foundation, and Barbara Kelly, president and CEO of the Center for Aquatic Sciences. Welcome to you both. And I promise, when I was just talking about the importance of having snow and rain, I didn't even think ahead to the fact that that was coincidental, because we always talk about that people love to kvetch, if you will, to borrow from a good Yiddish term. They love to kvetch when we get a heavy snowstorm or heavy rain, but without it, we would die. We need to have it, right? So it's very important. So let's welcome you both. First of all, good to have you both on New Jersey Mornings.
Good morning. Thank you for having us. We're excited to be here.
It's good to have you both. And we'll start with Carrie if we can. Carrie, what is the mission of the American Water Charitable Foundation, and why is the community investment such a core part of your work?
Sure. So the charitable arm of American Water, the American Water Charitable Foundation's mission is to demonstrate American Water's commitment to the communities we serve and where our employees live and work. Our primary focus is supporting American Water employees through our matching gift and volunteer program, providing funding for disaster relief efforts, and supporting higher level initiatives related to clean water, conservation, community sustainability. One important detail that I think is worth I'm sorry. Go ahead,
I didn't mean to step on you. My apologies, Carrie. Please continue. I thought you were done.
I was just going to say that maybe one important detail worth mentioning this morning: as a public utility, the way our foundation is structured, we are registered with the IRS as a 501c3 public charity, meaning we're supported by the shareholders of American Water, not customers. So when we provide a grant or a matching gift, we're not impacting our customer rates or their monthly water bill, if you will.
I'm glad you pointed that out, because I'm sure a lot of people say, "Oh, there you go. That's why we're paying so much for water," or whatever. No, this is nice. So you have it as a separate foundation under the guys, but it's not coming from the ratepayers. I'm glad you clarified that. And American Water is, of course, headquartered in Camden. Camden has come such a long way too in the last 10 years, and you could just see that Camden's future is going to be bright. You just sense it. How has the foundation's One Water Street grant program made a difference specifically in Camden, where there's been a lot of need?
So you're right. There is a lot of need, and there's a lot of great people doing a lot of work in the city of Camden. So through our One Water Street grant program, we are focused on supporting high impact initiatives and organizations that are supporting the well-being of the city. In 2025 alone, we awarded over $200,000 in grants to 20 organizations that are benefiting all of the great work that's happening in the city of Camden.
That's very cool. What are some of the projects that you most focused on supporting through those grants?
Well, obviously, water and environment is one of our core pillars, but we're also focused on public safety, the arts, giving back, community sustainability, well-being, and certainly organizations like the Center for Aquatic Sciences, who I know are joining us today for the conversation.
Yes, we're definitely going to get, I promise we're going to go back and forth. I promise you. And beyond Camden, Carrie, last question, I promise. What does the foundation's national impact look like? And how does clean water and conservation connect communities, not just in New Jersey, but all across the country?
That's right. We are nationwide. So thank you for asking. So our focus is on 3 pillars of giving: water, people, and communities. And through these pillars, we focus on water and the environment, workforce readiness, STEM education, and also strategic initiatives that benefit communities served by American Water nationwide, including New Jersey American Water and the city of Camden. Since 2012, our foundation has invested over $25 million in funding through grants and matching gifts that are important to our employees and the communities American Water serves.
Nice. And Barbara, we have to bring you in. Thank you so much for your patience. Tell us more about the Center for Aquatic Sciences and the role that it plays in connection with Camden youth, with nature and science.
So the Center for Aquatic Sciences has actually been in Camden for over 30 years. And we've been working during that time to really, our mission is about creating the next generation of environmental stewards. So we really want the youth to understand the environment around them and how they can make an impact in it. Every year we have about 50 teens that join our program. They're in 7th through 12th grade, and they spend about 400 hours a year in our program. During that time, they're learning things like the all-important water cycle you mentioned earlier, as well as, the impact the Delaware River makes on their homes and the impact that, rain can make as the snow melts and moves into the Delaware. What does that do? And they're really, that learning goal is about going back into the community. They're really taking that STEM education and going back into the community to do programming. So one of the key pieces that they do is they create. So they do all the writing, all the lesson planning, and then do run a summer camp every year. So those summer campers are in, K through 6. And these are really young kids that are really excited about learning in a fresh new way. Because the teens come in, they're not sitting there and pointing to notes and things like that. They're doing activities. They're having skits. They're teaching them songs. One of their favorite songs is the water cycle song. So they teach them all these great ways to care. And then we've actually seen through the years, those campers get so excited about it, they become our cause teens themselves. And we actually get, last year, we had a teen who graduated the program whose mom also graduated the program. So it becomes multi-generational, and that impact can be seen throughout Camden. As you talked about, the city itself is really undergone a lot of change in the last few years, and we hope to be a positive part of that change.
Well, that's amazing. We're down to the last minute, unfortunately, but for other nonprofits watching this morning, what advice would you give to organizations who want to partner with or apply for grants through American Water Charitable Foundation like this? Because obviously it's been very successful.
I think I would encourage nonprofits to visit our website at amwater.com/AWCF to learn more about our grant programs and some of our eligibility requirements. We would look forward to partnering with organizations and welcome anyone to apply.
Well, it's an amazing thing you're both doing. Thank you both. You are what makes New Jersey such a great place to live. Carrie Williams, president of the American Water Charitable Foundation. Barbara Kelly, president and CEO of the Center for Aquatic Sciences. Thank you both again for doing the amazing work you do. We appreciate you, and thanks for coming on this morning.
Thank you, Ken.
Thank you.
You bet. Coming up on 8:58 right now, we have a temperature of 21 degrees. Meteorologist Mike Favetta says sunshine this morning, clouds this afternoon, highs in the mid-30s, and that is on New Jersey Mornings for Tuesday, February 3rd, 2026. I'm Ken Rosato. Remember, you can stream us at ONNJ.com, Roku, Fire TV, News on Samsung TV Plus, Apple TV, YouTube, Facebook, and X, and now stream live on Substack, Rumble, Twitch, and Local Now, and on the West Coast on LACA. See you again tomorrow morning at 7.